Hello, everyone. It is Neil Green here, and as I was grading another section of the learning centers templates, I figured it might be a good idea to just have a conversation with you about kind of what learning centers are. And I by now you guys probably realize I do a lot of things in our class to kind of get your feet wet with things, to give you exposure to what you're going to be doing on a daily basis as a teacher, lesson planning, and depending on the grade level, learning centers. But you are going to be doing this type of planning in the future, so I think it's important to get you started now. And I'm not so much looking for perfection as I am getting you used to the process, if that makes sense. Um, but I wanted to kind of go over. I thought that going over a learning center would be maybe a good strategy for us to do. And I think there's a site called readwritethink.org, which is awesome, and it has a lot of different features that I wanted to show you. But all I did, obviously you can see I typed in learning centers, lesson plans, and I'm going to go to literacy centers. And as you can see at this readwritethink.org, it gives you a lot of different features like the grades K through 2, um, an author which just happens to be in Illinois, and it gives an overview of the lesson, and then also, which in the future you're going to have to get used to doing this from theory to practice. In other words, this teacher described what why the rationale behind their decision making for this lesson. We don't have to read it, but it gives you an idea. So that's what I mean whenever I tell you evidence-based writing, and that's what academic writing is. So you're taking it from theory to practice. But then here's a pretty cool feature for those of you. Right now, I don't want you to have to worry about the standards, because that is something that you're going to have a lot of exposure with coming down the line. But I just wanted to show this to you. If you look, there's Illinois. You find Illinois for your state and select a grade. So let's say it's grade 1 and go. And these are the Common Core standards. Look at that. They're all listed right there. Um, that this particular lesson aligns with. So that's done for you. I think that's too many, but okay. And then also the state standards for Illinois are right here listed for language arts. Um, and the national standards for English language arts are there. So that work is done for you. You don't even have to think about it. You can imagine how much time that just alone would save you. But I wanted to go into this. Learning centers are a little different than lesson plans. They're similar, of course, but they are, think of them as ongoing. And in this particular group of learning centers, they have different activities, and I'm going to walk you through. I want to show you a couple things, but they have, this particular teacher has a reading center, has a listening center, and has a poetry center. So they have three, or I'm sorry, in a computer center. So there's four. And that's about the typical number. You want to have four different centers where kids are doing different things, and it could be related to a common theme or topic, or depending on what you're trying to accomplish, what goals you're trying to accomplish. But let me just show you. This particular Read Write Think site has all the resources. It has the materials, student interactives, which for the computer center is something that would help them create a story map. And it's really cool. Actually, I used this back in the day when I was in the classroom. And students can create their own graphic organizer right here and save it, print it, whatever you want to do. And I think that that was pretty neat. Let me go back. But I want to show you the center signs. So there's a poetry center, computer center, listening center, and reading center, and a guided reading center. And you can have the centers be whatever you want, but the way this is set up is really well done, in my opinion. And it has a center checklist. This particular document, what did you do? Did you like it? Was it easy? These are kinds of things where you can make comments on your students' work and keep a dialogue going. For each center, they have to fill this out, as you probably noticed. The listening center checklist, the poetry center checklist, and then you can gain valuable assessment information on how they're doing, what they're learning, and that sort of thing. And then the center expectations is another important thing. The reading center expectations, and this would be posted where the students can easily see it. and you would want to review these as many times as needed to make sure that everybody knows and is exactly on the same page with what your expectations are to try and get the most out of the experience for everyone. Okay, so as you can see, I mean, it's pretty powerful. We'll go back to, I'm going to go down here. There are like center signs, and I believe that was the one we just saw where it has the poacher center, etc. So you can print all this stuff, which is nice. But I want to focus down here. Let's go to the computer center. Okay. These are additional ideas for the computer center. So you're going to want to have a plan. What do you want them to do in there? And again, you want to tie it back to your original plan or theme or idea. So you want to be clear about that. And then you also not only want to plan one activity, but then have some extension activities. So you're going to have to plan all of that stuff out as well. So I know it's a lot of planning, but what you have to remember is once you get these in place, this particular plan could last for weeks or months even. So yes, it does take a lot of time to set up, but it's well worth your efforts, and things can start to run like clockwork where you can say, okay, time to rotate and put students in their centers, and then they know to move to another center, and they take their checklists along with them, and the thing basically runs itself, which is really cool to watch the little guys and girls do that. But anyway, back to this site. I just think it's a great resource, to kind of save you time, and it also has lesson plans, more general type lesson plans like here on fact or fiction. And if you I'll just drill down into this one, but it has the actual plan written out. And again, it's not in the exact same format that we use, but basically lesson plans use different templates, and that's fine. But good lesson plans all have at least these following things: an objective, the standards, uh, and procedures, and an assessment plan. So they may come in different shapes and sizes and look different, but all lesson plans have some common themes in them. But this gives you the objectives in the lesson plan. So for session 1, this is a multi-session lesson plan. So in session 2, narrative text, and then the steps written out in numbered order, and has the questions written out, which I always advise my students to do. And I think that as you get started in planning, now you have to remember these are exceptional, and it has the extension as well, but these are exceptional lesson plans, and so you can pretty much everything I've come across on this site has been first top class. So you don't expect yourself to be come right out of the gate and be able to plan like this, because it takes time. But you'll get there. So and it becomes easier. And a lot of these plans are multi-days, and they're a good place to start. And if you do use these plans, you have to make sure that you attribute where you got it. So you have to cite it just like a text. And another quick thing I want to show you, I'm not sure if I showed you guys this. Citation Machine is a great site for APA. As you're learning APA and how to document and make references and citations, this webpage, Citation Machine, will help you do it. And as you can see, you can go with books, magazines, newspapers, websites, journals, films, and other, and it'll help walk you through how to do it. There are times when things are a little bit odd, like how to cite that website, but you would go there, and I'll just put in readwritethink.org. Sometimes it's just a matter of kind of messing around with it and see what comes up. Okay, so let's see. Sort of resources, homepage, readwritethink.org. So I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to walk you through this. You might have to, and again, there may be a bit of a odd, may not fit exactly what you're trying to do, but that's okay. And what I mean by that is there may be some missing pieces of information, but if you make this effort and do that, you're going to be in good shape. And here's what it looks like whenever you do. So there's my citation. All right, and that's good enough. That should be good enough for most instructors. Again, you have to be very clear with your instructors if you're unable to find the exact citation. But for me, that's perfect. And you can click copy and paste, and then you can attach that to any document as you see fit. Let's see here. So I go here, and Oh, whoops, it didn't work. Okay, so I go back, copy and paste, or you can just highlight it and then copy it that way. And you go back, and I'm going to paste it. There. And there it is. Done. So you can, it'll help you with APA citations, and why not, as you're kind of learning how to do it. But that site, rewritethink.org, and many others are out there that can provide some great insight for you and help you as you go on this journey of lesson planning and writing center. So I'm very pleased with you guys with this effort, as with everything else that you've done in our course. And I just want to thank you. It's been a great journey together. I know it's our last week, and sure our paths will cross again. Thank you.